What is up, you guys? It's Twinlesstwin coming for you in a post-Nadu world, and I have a new Grixis list that I have kind of theory crafted together with Pyganti. So we talked a little bit about it yesterday in our video. If you haven't watched that already, you should definitely check it out. Also on the YouTube channel with myself and Pyganti's thoughts on where the meta is going to go moving forward. I think some common themes are that Boros Energy clearly is a very high power deck and definitely stands to win after not having anything banned from it. But also the One Ring was not banned, and lots of decks can play the One Ring, so another clear winner. So you can kind of see that reflected in my list today. I've got Orcish Bowmasters in the main deck, a great card against both Boros Energy and the One Ring decks. I've got 4 Consigned to Memories for all those One Ring decks, 3 Rough Tumbles for the Boros Energy decks, and then another key change is Nethergoyf. I'm trying Nethergoyf, and a big reason is because it is very good against Boros Energy. It can't be killed by Flage. Often they can't remove it with their lightning bolts and such, so it can block really well. Just all around potential for being a very strong card. We're gonna try it in that DRC slot. DRC still a super high performer. However, DRC does suffer from dying to Flage as a X3, so trying to make that switch there. With that, I think let's just go ahead and hop into the league. I'd say, I guess, my biggest concern here is that the mana is now a little bit more split, so we've got the, Unholy Heats and Expressive Iterations, but also Nethergoyf, Bowmasters, Fatal Push, so we've kind of moved into a pure Grixis build as opposed to being blue-red with Psychic Frog, and that has some benefit, like I highlighted with some of these cards. I think they're good, but also some downside. We'll also call it the 2 Fatal Push. I think that, Psychic Frog is a really strong card that will only take more meta share with the banning of Grief and Nadu. So having at least a couple ways to be guaranteed to answer the Psychic Frog felt really valuable to me. So I'm playing the 2 push. I'll reiterate that over the past couple days, as I've been thinking about Murktide's position, I do feel pretty good about it after this Nadu ban. I mean, I played in the NRG series event this past weekend, and I lost a lot to Nadu, but not to anything else. So Nadu was just pretty clearly a broken deck, and now it's gone. Okay, so on the play, I think this hand is pretty great. We have options to either open on Nethergoyf or a Preordain. How I'm thinking about this is because we have Psychic Frog Force Negation, opening on the Preordain I think makes more sense. Just basically trying to set up that turn 2 Frog plus... Okay, and this is good. I think we'll just go bottom, top. Yeah, setting up turn 2 Frog plus Fawn on the play is really, really strong. Actually, kind of questioning / regretting my decision there. Maybe the fetch land was better. Maybe a second blue-black land so I could have, like, Frog this turn and then Nethergoyf Fatal Push the next turn. I chose the fetch to save the point of life, but that might not be as relevant as having the flexibility. Okay, Preordain. I guess if they try to transform Tamiyo, we'll have to decide if we want to Fawn to prevent that. We also have the option here of trying to block the Tamiyo. I think that that's a little bit of a trap. I mean, they could just have a Consider here or something. I don't Really want to pitch my whole hand, and I think, you know, we can go punch for punch with Tamiyo here with our frog. Galvanic Discharge. Discharge is pretty nice against frog because, you know, if we do discard 2 cards, they can just gain the 3 energy, and then their next discharge deals 6 to the frog. For that reason, I am considering a Force of Negation here. I guess just discarding 2 cards might be the better play, though. We can discard Preordain and probably... Nethergoyf, I guess. I mean, the Nethergoyf might be pretty good. We definitely want to kill the Tamiyo before they can have Flame of Anor, so I expect that to be... Fatal Push to be one of our plays next turn. And then hopefully we can find a land and have Counterspell up. Alright, I'm going to discard Nethergoyf and Preordain. Well, we did find a land, but it was not the land we wanted. I think holding up the Counterspell is going to be more valuable here than Fatal Pushing the Tamiyo right away. Oh, but the... No, I changed my mind. The risk of Flame of Anor is just too high. I think we do want to Fatal Push there. Snapcaster Mage. Okay. Discharge. I guess we're discarding all of our cards. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's another reason. Like, if we think they're wizards, Snapcaster Mage would be another reason to try to fawn the discharge in the first place. I have 6 energy. Can we escape Nethergoyf right now? Nope, not yet. I think jumping the frog is the better first move here before we Bowmasters. The Snapcaster Mage is somewhat scary, but if we find like a counter spell, I would rather have that up than anything else. And then again, let's bobble ourselves. Preordain on top. Okay, now let's take out the Snapcaster Mage so that they can't Flame of Anor for serious value, and pass. Alright, they Preordain into the Bowmasters. Alright, and we pick up game number 1. Post board, the Invert seems reasonable, Spellbomb seems reasonable. I guess what doesn't seem great, probably these Unholy Heats aren't the greatest. They don't kill Tamiyo on turn 1 without Delirium. So they're pretty poor at killing the most important creature to kill in the Wizards deck. So that makes sense to trim those. I don't really think we want Consigned to Memory unless we see the One Ring post board, but not... Like, I don't think hitting a Snapcaster Mage trigger is really worth it. Maybe that is fine. We already have like Cling to Dust, Spell Bomb to kind of stifle their Snapcaster plan. Bowmasters is good against Snapcaster. I'm not gonna worry too much about Snapcaster. Fawn also doesn't seem great. I guess the question is, what can I replace it with? None of these cards really excite me very much. Okay, maybe something to consider. Do we need a better sideboard plan versus Wizards? Could become a popular deck for sure. Flame of Anor is a very good card. Do we want to preordain right away? I guess the question is, what am I preordaining for? It kind of feels like that's up in the air, so I might just hold on to this preordain for now. Wait to see if we're looking for lands. Probably fetch a Surveil land and just hold off. Because right now we're kind of happy with lands and spells, so using the preordain isn't going to give us that much value. I'm even questioning if I want a Surveil land, or if I want to just get Steam Vents and save my Surveil lands for later in the game. I mean, this matchup could pretty easily get pretty grindy, and that's when the Surveil lands can end up providing a lot of value. Yeah, I think that I've convinced myself that I don't need to get a Surveil land right now. Okay. I think let's start with the preordain here. I don't think we need Fatal Push at this point. I think another preordain seems fine. And then we can go ahead and play Thundering Falls. And let's put Force Negation in the graveyard. Like I said, Force Negation I don't think is that great. There's not a ton of like stuff they're tapping out for on their turn. They're mostly going to be interacting on our turn. So opponent had binned Otawara, but now is stuck on 2 lands. I think that's a pretty greedy mistake from them. Like, that hitting your land drops is really important in a matchup like this, so I would almost always be looking for at least my 3rd, probably my 4th land. If they go to discard, we'll let them. And then I'm going to preordain looking for my land drop here. They discard Blood Moon. It's good to know about if we do end up going to game 3. Alright, so they dispute. I think that the idea there is just that they want to get the cards out of their hands so they don't have to go to discard again, which is fair. And then they bolt us. So Murktide would just be a 6/6. I'm not going to use the Spell Bomb yet because I can Unholy Heat. I guess I don't have Delirium for the Unholy Heat yet. And I would need to use the Spell Bomb to get it. Okay, well that's awkward. Let's flash in this Bowmasters. Okay, we'll... We'll cash in the spell bomb. Unholy Heat remains the best. I guess let's just go grab tapped land. This might have been premature. Yeah, this was definitely premature to do that. I should have just cast it off of the Water Grave and the Thundering Falls. Maybe we'll just get spell snared and it didn't matter. We do, in fact, get spell snared. Alright, passing with Fawn and invert Hilarity up here. I think I'd basically invert Polarity anything just to get some value. Oh, I lost the flip. Thunder Trap Trainer. It's a pretty good one here. Find Blood Moon. I guess the question is, do we care about this Blood Moon? Can we win with our Bowmasters plus the... I think forcing is better here. I guess Force is the key card that... Or the Blood Moon is the key card that we would want to force, so... There you go. Tamiyo blocks here, but the clues are going to be very costly with double Bowmasters in play. Oh, you draw a Fatal Push. Even better. Okay. Maybe I should have waited on the Fatal Push. No, I think that not waiting is good. Alright, they respect another Bowmasters, which is probably not worth it here for them because it changes the clock, but I see their line of play. Another Murktide region here. Makes sense. Really hoping they don't have Spell Snare. They don't. Draw Counterspell. So now they block the 2/2 down to 4. attack with Tomio. Interesting. Alright. We win match number 1 against Blue-Red Wizards. And straight into match number 2 we go. Love to see that. Modern League's thriving right now after the ban of Nadu. Lots of players excited to play Modern again. This hand seems like a keep. On the draw, some risk of being too slow, but we can dig with Bobble for a removal spell, and we have Fawn as well, so I think it's worth keeping. They bobble themselves with an Arid Mesa, which I'm not sure what deck that would be. Maybe Underworld Breach? Been Fable too, so it could be Energy, but with Mishra's Bauble for some reason. Alright, well I'm going to assume that they're some type of creature deck, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab Undercity Sewers, bin Steam Vents. Draw Psychic Frog, okay. The Bobble threw me a little bit. Oh, and DRC too. Okay. An interesting build here that we're up against. So we know that they're one card type away from Delirium, and an instant would get them there. So have to respect that. I think now's as good a time as ever to Bowmasters the DRC and see if it gets taken out. Just grab a basic island. I assume they are going to have a removal spell. Potentially we could Fawn the removal spell. If they don't Surveil into Delirium, it could definitely be worth it. And the other option is to try to eat the DRC with a Psychic Frog, which seems pretty reasonable also. And have Fawn up. Yeah, I think that that's okay. I mean, they did just play another Bauble, so we would have gotten another Bowmaster trigger if they didn't have a removal spell. It was a pretty close decision. If they had another removal spell, it'd look very bad for us to Fawn that Bolt. And the Psychic Frog is already a great card to protect. They get in for 3. So I can discard 2, and then... Ooh, they have Unholy Heat. Okay. Well, I can't discard... Actually, I could. Discard my whole hand. Seems like a risky play, though. I'm not sure I want to actually play the Nethergoyf here. I guess on one hand, they could be hasting something next turn, but maybe the Thundering Falls is better to give me the opportunity to Expressive Iteration next turn, looking for a removal spell for the DRC. Because it feels like we're not really the beatdown here. Like, is this Nethergoyf actually going to do anything if we don't remove the DRC? I'm not going to attack with the Orc Army just in case they have Ragavan, but also they could maybe haste something else with Arena of Glory. And I don't think the 1 point is going to be very relevant. Fable. That could be a card worth fawning. I think pitching Psychic Frog. It feels like they have an answer to the frog, to be honest, because if they were willing to heat when we could like make a 6/7, maybe it's just a good bluff, but to me that would suggest they might just have like another, like a Static Prison in hand, or maybe another removal spell, something along those lines. I'm curious to see what they do with Soul Guide Lantern here. Probably, yeah, definitely hit the Fawn. Makes sense. Okay. I think Preordain to hand. Potentially Nethergoyf to exile. And then just play 2 Nethergoyfs. Yes, it means going down to 8, but Soul Guide does actually reset Nethergoyf to be a 0, which hurts, admittedly. Nethergoyf also does not block the DRC. It's pretty ironic that we cut DRC from our deck and are now getting crushed by a DRC, reminding us of its power. Its rage. Something with haste coming through. 4 mana. 4 red mana with haste. What the heck? Okay. Sunspine Lynx. We're gonna block with a Nethergoyf. They're gonna pop the Spell Bomb, which does suck. For us. I guess we could have not attacked with a 1/1. It's okay though. We have another Nethergoyf. We're not really too pressed for that. Now dead to Flage, which does not feel good to be in that spot without any sign of turning the corner. Okay, so if we get rid of enchantment, they lose Delirium. So Cling to Dust seems like it could be reasonable here. I guess top this as well. Agavan. And bestow Detective's Phoenix onto Ragavan. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has flying and haste. Okay. Well, it's a good thing we put the counterspell on top instead of the preordain. I did do that intentionally, and it ended up rewarding us to an extent. Players can't gain life. Okay, we're dead. Never mind. We cannot gain life. I was gonna say we can Cling to Dust our own Nethergoyf to survive here and then make some blocks, but we actually cannot gain life. So we will die. Yeah, didn't play around Detective's Phoenix. Not really sure how to sideboard. Seems like the Nihil Spell Bomb is a no-brainer. Maybe Fawn's not great. Probably keep it pretty simple. Invert Polarity could be okay. Playing the one Cling to Dust today, suggestion from the YouTube comments section, so if you think you know how to improve the list, comment down below. Trying it out, mostly as an answer to Flage, but also just a pretty passable cantrip. You can use it as a late game engine in a lot of spots. So this is a card that takes me back to the Luris days when Luris was a companion and people would play Cling to Dust there. It has some decent utility. Alright. We go first, and I think we have a pretty keepable hand. I think leading on the Preordain makes the most sense. The turn 2 Frog is probably pretty good, but also Nethergoyf is just not that. I don't think we need a second Expressive, like this hand has a lot of gas already, but Cycle Oliphant. They're certainly keeping me on my toes. And then play a Ragavan. Start by Unholy Heating. I think I'll discard at least one Expressive. Maybe also discard the Psychic Frog. I'll attack first. If we hit a land, I'll play the second Frog. Okay. I guess to me this says they might have a removal spell for the Frog if this is the block they make, but I'll pass priority back. Oh, interesting. I'm not sure why they would prioritize the 1 damage over my Frog drawing a card. I guess they just couldn't kill the Frog. Well, I could just grow the Nethergoyf now so that it doesn't get killed either. I draw another Murktide Regent. I'll just play Frog here so that I don't delve away cards to kill my Nethergoyf. I'm not rushing to play Murktide. I think that this game we're just very favored here based on how this is playing out. Seems like they don't have the necessary removal to keep up with our draw. Kind of how things could work on the play versus the draw. Do we want Fawns back? I mean, not really. Still doesn't sound great. Alright, they... I think we'll just play out another Goyf here. I'm never not going to play the Nether Goyf, so I don't really see a reason to bobble myself. But I will play out the bobble just in case I need to crack it. For example, if they have Unholy Heat. This would grow my Goyf to be a 2-3. Okay, so they dash Ragavan here. I guess the idea is that if I block and bobble, they just use the Soul Guide Lantern. But I do have the option of just blocking, and no matter what, we'll end up trading. Okay. I'm okay with that. I mean, we traded 1 mana for their 2 mana play, so pretty good trade for us. Here we can bobble ourselves. Alright, yeah, we're gonna fetch that away. I'll just grab an island and play out Psychic Frog. The draw is Expressive Iteration. Alright, they play a Fable. If they want to chump their Shaman, I'm fine discarding a card and eating it. Here I'm holding up Counterspell first and foremost. I'm not really sure if I would block the Goblin Shaman or not because of the Soul Guide Lantern thing. I guess if they attack, we block, and they Soul Guide Lantern, we might be just okay with that.
No.
They crack the Soul Guide Lantern for a card. Now I don't think they can really afford to attack. Well, they do have Delirium now, so maybe that was their plan, was to turn on Delirium. Oh, but they have a bauble. Well, maybe they just drew it. They probably just drew it off the thing. They get Unholy Heat here with Delirium. I'm gonna fetch a Steam Vents and counterspell that. Iteration is pretty awkward off of this mana base. Kind of takes me back to my original theory of wanting to minimize the splash of black to make the mana both less painful but also more straightforward for the expressive iteration. Okay, so they have another Soul Guide Lantern. It means we probably should not block with the Nethergoyf. Actually, I take it back. We can, because we could just discard cards to Frog, right? Just discard 2 cards to Frog. It's actually pretty reasonable. They cash in their Soul Guide for nothing. If they go like Bolt Frog here, that gets kind of awkward. Alright, let's just discard this Nethergoyf. And the Sink into Stupor. There you go. I've got a 2/3 Nethergoyf. Pretty cool synergy there between Frog and the Goyf. Alright, they draw off their bauble. We draw Counterspell. Do we want to discard Expressive for +2? I think it's pretty reasonable to do so. We're doing fine on cards, and we now have a counter spell plus a removal spell for their Fable. Growing the Frog is pretty relevant throughout the game. They've only showed us damage-based removal so far. I'm not really confident they have Static Prison because they haven't shown us any of the energy, other energy cards. Four mana for the Lynx. I mean, they can theoretically copy it with Fable. So this puts them to 7 and us to 11. And then we just have lethal in the air with counterspell up next turn. Okay, that resolves. Yep, we can just jump the... Discard 3 cards, jump the frog, GG's. Awesome. All right, 2-0. Let's keep it going. So we don't know what we're up against, but we're gonna just play out a bobble and then we can get an extra look. Our opponent mulligan to 6. They play, okay, so it looks like Yawgmoth, probably. I guess I shouldn't be so presumptuous. I might actually just go ahead and bobble them for another, okay, Twilight Mire. So I feel pretty confident it's Yawgmoth at this point. I think I'll grab Undercity Sewers. I know I'm gonna slam a frog next turn. They could have Bowmasters, so I'll just bubble myself now. Wall of Roots is fine. We can discard a card to the frog, discard the Nether Goyf to give us Delirium. That's annoying. I'll discard this Nether Goyf. And then Heat. I think it's okay if they block here. I mean, Grist would be like a kind of scary card for them to have. And if they block, then now they can't Grist minus because we could just Unholy Heat the Yawgmoth. No plays. Does that mean Endurance here? Probably. My guess is it's an Endurance. Okay. Let's let it resolve. Unholy Heat it. And then give ourselves flying. I'll discard a Fawn here. Doesn't seem particularly valuable. A Murktide. Ooh. Unfortunately, we're one card short. I would slam this Murktide if we could discard our hand and do so, but I cannot. We will be able to play it next turn, though. Play a 2-drop. Oh, that's a Yawgmoth. Okay. We'll grab the Thundering Falls. I think that I'll bend most cards here. Even Unholy Heat, I mean, I'm not very close to Delirium, so no point in keeping that around. I want to keep the Spell Snare there. I think that a lot of like their 2-for-1s like Bowmaster or the Marionette Master in these new lists are 2-drops, so being able to cut that off is going to significantly limit the amount of cards they have. Rumble, another one that I'm willing to Spell Snare. It's 2 bodies basically, so kind of just hoping that like their other card is a brick here, or at least not worth 2 creatures or a Yawgmoth. I guess I do have the option of going for lethal here, and seems like a pretty good option. I mean, I'm not sure if the Fawn is actually that bad. They might have Birthing Ritual, Charithian Nightmare, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, lots of cards you can Fawn. I don't think Rough Tumble... Rough Tumble might not be bad, actually. Like, between Marionette Master, Bowmaster... It could sweep up a lot of bodies, the insects. It doesn't kill Grist itself. It doesn't kill Yawgmoth. But when Yawgmoth hits the board, you're already in trouble. Snares seem good. I think Cling seems kind of weak. Maybe we could shave down Nethergoyf too. Just seems hard to attack through stuff. We'll bring in this, and maybe like 2 Rough Tumbles. I think Bowmasters is reasonable, just to pick off their stuff. I don't know, tricky. Don't love this one. Like I said, I'm not 100% sold on Nethergoyf from the beginning. And then it's 4 lands, 2 cantrips, so potential for 5th land at least. I'm gonna send it back. Alright. I mean, on 6 I'll work with this. Put back a frog. We are on the draw. We could fetch a surveil land or operate reasonably well off of 1 land. Nice. Oh wait, I should definitely have Unholy Heated there. No, maybe not actually, because next turn I could like Nethergoyf plus Unholy Heat. My only red spell is the second Unholy Heat, so and well, we're just not very close to Delirium is the only thing. Young Wolf and single black Thoughtseize, okay. They Thoughtseize us. Them not taking the frog, to me, tips off like a decent chance they have Grist, maybe? Just feels really suspicious. I might still jam the frog here, to be fair. Guess let's bobble myself and see. Yeah, it feels like jamming the frog is still the right play, to be honest. Even though they're highly suspicious. Like, oh, that gave us Delirium. Okay, maybe I actually might take that back. That might have been the wrong play. I was thinking we didn't have Delirium, so the Grist was going to be good anyways, but with Delirium, we could make it really awkward not playing the frog. They're going to play Grist here. Oh, they just have Fatal Push. Okay. Well, I guess I feel less stupid now. Oh. A Bowmasters, okay. I'll pick off the Bowmasters now, before we draw. Wall of Roots. I think Unholy Heat, the Wall of Roots, and then play... This is the awkward part. I guess I'm just going to grab an island. Play a Nethergoyf. I hope they drew Bowmaster for turn. That would be poetic. They didn't play anything, which makes me think they might have drawn like Yawgmoth or something similar to that, so I kind of want to be attacking here. I'm just afraid of what they might end up having if I don't attack. Oh, so I think they did actually draw Bowmasters that turn, and then we exiled the Spell Snare. That's really good, though, still. Maybe I shouldn't have been attacking. Now they're not attacking with the Yawgmoth. Interesting. Play another Yawgmoth. I think I would have attacked if I were them, but I'm not gonna complain. Can we find a Bowmasters? Uh-oh. They did have Yawgmoth, okay. I can't say I'm too happy about being right. Now the interesting thing is that I actually threatened lethal with the frog, and I shouldn't have played the Undercity Sewers. Yeah, if I had just held the Undercity Sewers in hand, I would have some insurance, but even as is, I have a good chance of threatening lethal here with the frog jumping in the skies. I think the only thing that can save the opponent is endurance. Or I should not f6. Frog is just so good. Alright, Frog, take to the skies. GG's. We cannot keep this hand. We're too vulnerable. We need to draw land, have no card selection. I mean, we have Fawn and Snare, but too much risk. Alright, I'd keep this. Put back Island. I think I just want to play a Surveil in turn one. Playing out the Nethergoyf seems like it's just going to result in a removal spell and helping them Surveil with DRC. This way we can like Unholy Heat the DRC next turn and then play the Goyf. Let's just shoot this thing and play out the Goyf. We're not going to use the Bauble right now. Because we could save it for the fetch. But we know we're going to play the Goyf this turn, so Bauble itself is not getting any value. We also could have Bowmasters, and maybe we'll just hold on to this Bauble for a little bit. Burning Inquiry in this economy? What the heck? Alright, well, at least we still have our Nether Goy. They can shoot the Goy for 1. I think shooting the Goy for 1 would have been smart there to make the army be able to attack. Hollow 1. Oh. Alright, well, I mean, Nether Goy brick walls them pretty well. Oh, they have a Detective's Phoenix. Son of a gun. That card's gonna be a problem. We lost both our Unholy Heats, too. And Detective's Phoenix seems pretty strong. Is Bestow... I think it's an enchant. Yeah, it's an enchant. Like, it's a non-creature. So we could, like, fawn it or something if we find one of those. I guess let's start with an iteration. See where that takes us. We do find fawn. And a preordain. So I guess we can preordain into a blue card. I guess that's a pretty reasonable play. We could actually use this bauble to keep our Nether Goyf ahead of their Orc army, which I forgot about last turn. Ooh, and Murktide Regent does seem great. So let's go top here. They knock us down to 9. They're gonna go for the Bestow, but we did find Burning Inquiry. That's brutal. I don't really think we can afford to let that resolve, even though now they could potentially Bestow. If they have the mana source for it. They wisely identify this bauble, lets us grow the Goyf so they don't do anything too crazy here. Alright, how big can we keep our Goyf while playing this Murktide? So leave 1 instant, 1 sorcery, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I guess taking away the last instant's okay, because we do have the Fatal Push already in our hand. So that's an 8/8 Murktide, which should hold things down pretty well. Maybe I actually should have attacked there, so that next turn they have to chump block. Yeah, I should have attacked there. Too cowardly. Goblin Lore. Draw 4, then discard 3 at random. Okay, well, I mean, we're not the ones discarding, so that's good at least. Or drawing. They discard a hollow one, a Goblin Lore, and a Wooded Foothills. But they play another hollow one. Yeah, man, if we'd attacked last turn, that would have been pretty good for us, I think. What will they bestow onto? Onto the hollow one. Okay. I guess now would be the right time to use the bauble, and then we can push the orc army later. Oh, they're attacking. This feels pretty aggressive. Maybe they had us on nothing. I think Fawn top is okay. We're like pretty far ahead here. Aside from them casting one of those rummages, it feels like. Like we don't let them cast a Burning Inquiry, we should be winning. We didn't crack a bauble. They had a bauble. Alright, they chump block. Oh, I could have cracked the bauble there, maybe. And we can fawn this. Alright, pick up game number 1. Spell Bomb definitely seems good. Maybe Surgical is playable. I mean, they're discarding a lot of cards. Nah, I don't think so. I don't think Surgical is really that great. What seems bad? I think the Fawns are great. Maybe we're trimming like an iteration here, just like they're trying to... They're doing a lot of card disadvantage to themselves, so we're probably okay with that. Maybe the consigns are interesting because of hollow ones. We already have 4 in Holy Heat, so I just wonder how much we actually want the consigns. The Bowmasters are obviously just going to be A+. Let's do this. Snare is like for Goblin Lore and Bowmaster. I think that's enough targets out of their deck. The Netherglyphs were pretty A+ there as well. Yeah, let's try this real quick. I'm gonna take a quick break. Okay, so we've got Fawn, Frog. What more can you ask for? They have a Netherglyph. I guess that makes a lot of sense. With them just spitting a ton of cards into the graveyard. I think I'm actually okay playing out my Nethergoyf here. I can probably go sequence it to play like Nethergoyf, then like fetch Island Frog, Thundering Falls. Yeah, the mana has been kind of awkward though, I won't lie. It kind of feels like if Nethergoyf is the route, you might just want to go with blue-black. And Bowmasters also. Like, if you want those cards at that point, blue-black is just might be the best option. Okay, so our Nethergoyf 8 lightning bolts. We've got the frog ready in the wings. For the Fatal Push here, we're in some trouble. But if they just have another bolt or something, I'm willing to discard. Don't be pushed, don't be pushed. Lava Dart. Lava Dart? Huh. Okay, that resolves. What does it tell us that they played this Goblin lore off of... I mean, they could just be leaving up... Yeah, they could just be leaving up black mana for, like, a potential Nethergoyf, so I think it doesn't really tell us anything. I was kind of considering, like, is that a tell they have Fatal Push? But no, if they had Fatal Push, they would definitely want a Fatal Push before they Goblin lore. They wouldn't want to risk discarding the Fatal Push, basically. I think block and discard this Thundering Falls is reasonable. I guess at that point we might as well discard the Preordain as well. Okay, maybe block wasn't good. Because they do have... Okay, they just concede. Okay, I guess block was good. I was going to say, they do have the Dart in the graveyard, which is why I realized I should just discard another card, because they'll probably Dart and force me to do that anyways. Then I can at least eat the Barrow or the Nethergoyf, but they just end up not having it there. If they had like a bolt or something, we would have been in a decent amount of trouble, so maybe just no block was the best play. So we can keep up force and negation. But we found ourselves 4-0 in this league, so pretty sweet result. I have some concerns about the way this list is built, and if it really makes sense to splash red, just based on how these games have been playing out. You know, we haven't really been punished so far in this league, but it's kind of a feeling I've gotten where a lot of the time the mana has been awkward, a bit more painful than I would like. And it didn't really... I guess the Unholy Heats have been pretty good. The iterations haven't really come up too much as a key card. But, okay, we'll continue to try things out. Right now, let's focus on getting this 5-0 here. Okay, I think I'm willing to keep this on, you know, with a Surveil and a Bauble. It's like 2 additional looks. We have a Fatal Push to protect ourselves from a super aggressive draw, but definitely not ideal. Alright, we'll start with the Surveil. Survey says Graveyard. And then is there any reason to Bauble now? I mean, like, drawing Fawn would be the reason. I guess also we get some info on their... I mean, we are definitely cracking the Bauble on their turn, if not our turn, because we want maximum looks at the second land drop. Alright, they have Subtlety on top. Snare. I mean, it's another good card to hold off some of their aggression, I guess, but... so it looks like they're playing Living End. Never mind, Snare's not going to do anything. Neither is this Fatal Push. Our whole hand kind of... Well, we have Counterspell on Frog. How are they playing Living End without Grief as well? So no Violent Outburst, no Grief. Maybe they're not playing Living End. Whew, we rip the land. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if we get Subtletied here, but let's jam Frog, force them to Subtlety us. Nope, they let it resolve. So is this just Living End with no protection? I guess a lot of decks don't actually have counters, so maybe against the decks without counters it's passable. I'm just curious what their plan is against the decks with counters. So we kind of know they Snare and Push are dead, so we can just immediately... Well, maybe not immediately. Let's attack. Well, we're going to, before damage, we're going to discard anyways. Yeah, we'll discard the Push. Discard the Snare. I think, honestly, discard the Iteration as well. It just seems pretty unlikely we're going to be able to cast this Iteration. The damage seems more relevant. Ooh. Alright, we'll pass the Counterspell up. Maybe discarding one more card there was good. If we discarded Preordain, they go to 9. Then we flash Bowmasters, put them to 8. Have... Yeah, we have Lethal. We have Lethal anyways here. Put them to 9, and then have 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we do have Lethal anyways if we Bowmasters. Or could we have discarded the Preordain and the Bowmasters to put them to 8 here? And then have Counterspell up with Lethal. Well, we know they have Subtlety. So if we play Bowmasters, we're just letting them Subtlety us. I guess on the other hand, maybe we don't want them to be able to discard something else. I don't know. It probably doesn't really matter that much. Oh, they have Endurance. Interesting. Alright. Yeah, I think that they were in trouble there because we had the... Surgical can come in. Alright. Always cut Spell Snare versus Living End. And we can cut these Fatal Pushes. A Heat is actually a pretty reasonable card against them. I think cutting one iteration makes sense. Probably the Cling to Dust. And then we could shave like a Heat. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if their plan against us was to play a more flash game plan where the Heats are actually really good. So maybe I should keep that in mind. The Surgicals are also not great. I mean, you can like Surgical a Living End after you counterspell one, but if you consign to memory the Living End, like the Cascade trigger, or you Fawn the Living End, you can't Surgical it, so we actually don't have a ton of ways to stick the Surgical. I think we're supposed to keep this just because it has 2 counters. They start on Leyline of the Void, so the Murktide region in our hand immediately does nothing, and so does the Necrogoyfs in our deck. Nethergoyfs in our deck, so Leyline of the Void actually a pretty good card against this build. We're just on Frog now. I still don't feel terrible about our chances just because I think we want to dig for the Frog and also protect ourselves from the hardcast creature angle. Like, if we take the Consign to memory, we're just pretty vulnerable to them starting to hardcast big creatures. And with this Leyline in play, we don't have access to Murktide or Goyf as ways to just kind of attack through. Like, without the Leyline, we feel pretty good about beating the creature plan, but with the creatures in, I mean, I actually feel pretty afraid. Alright, Temple Garden. And we're just digging hard for a Psychic Frog, basically. No, thank you. Okay. I guess we could also find Sink into Stupor to bounce the Leyline, get some cards in the yard to make these Nethergoyfs playable Magic cards. Oh, wow. Teferi. And it's like unbeatable. Okay. We're gonna lose this game. I wasn't ready for that. They go up, which is very smart because they know we don't have Delirium for Unholy Heat. So yeah, this Teferi is gonna be pretty much unbeatable. Okay, we found Sink into Stupor. So I guess in anticipation of that, let's go ahead and fetch Watery Grave. Play 2 Nethergoyfs. Or do we just want 1 Nethergoyf? I guess if they go Living End to make Curator of Mysteries here, we're gonna be dead. But I mean, if they had like Shardless Agent or something, we were dead anyways. We're pretty much dead. Because they could like play Shardless, even if we can't hold up counters. What am I saying? They have Teferi in play. Yeah. So they have Teferi, so might as well just play out the Glyphs. Alright, well now we have outs to, like, sink, bounce the ley line. Sink is going to go to the graveyard. And then Flooded Strand, fetch, is going to let us take out the Teferi and hold up Consigned to Memory for a living end. So we've got some angles here. Now this is assuming they don't have any counters, which Mystical Dispute I think is pretty reasonable card for them to have in their deck post-board against us. And also no creatures. They play Shardless Agent, so they have creatures. A little mini living end. Mini but effective. Alright, I still think our best line of play is bounce the ley line. If they have Fawn, we can concede. They don't. Alright, so we're making it interesting, huh? Bobble ourselves. Frog. Okay. Let's draw the frog here. Oh man, maybe playing the Netherglyph was still better though. Because now they have Teferi on 3, which means they can bounce something. Yeah, I should have played out the Glyph. That was stupid. The frog's not worth that much. They have endurance here? They do. Alright. They'll take game 2. What do we want to do? Subvert Polarity seems like it actually could be pretty good. Like a chance to steal a Fatty or Teferi seems good. The Unholy Heat should probably come back. I don't really think there's much else that I want to do. I guess then I need to make cuts. These Surgicals are just kind of a joke. Like, they really don't do anything, so let's just cut those. Yeah, and let's hope they don't have Leyline of the Void. As we've learned, that card is pretty strong against us. Now, Bowmasters is another card that does beat Leyline, so... And Invert Polarity does. So we've got some nice cards in hand here. And they don't have Leyline. Alright, feeling good all around about this start to the game rather than the game 2. I'm gonna grab just a Watery Grave. Don't want to waste my Surveil lands yet, I don't think. Because I was happy drawing a 3rd land also there. I guess I probably should have main phased the Bowmasters because they could have like Curator or something here, and now they can just flash it in under, or cycle it under my Bowmasters, making them have to trigger the Bowmasters would have been pretty valuable. Yeah, I definitely should have. Okay. I guess no punish. Seems like they don't have Curator. Or don't feel the need to cycle it in response. Get in here. Actually, I think casting Preordain. Okay. I think I won't cast Preordain because I yielded. For a cycle Generous End. That was probably a fine turn to cast Preordain. Like, we had Counterspell up, Fawn up, all that stuff, so just cycle through the cantrip there. So Endurance is the scary card here, but we have an answer to it with Counterspell. Alright, let's bin Bauble. Don't need that. See, if they flash Endurance here, I won't Preordain this turn, but if they don't, I think I will Preordain. I don't need more Consigned Memories. I have Regrets. Okay, Channel Waker. They put a Temple Garden in the graveyard. And cycle Curator. Alright, trigger Bowmasters, target you. They channel another Waker. Rewarded for not cracking the fetch. Now we can Bauble trick ourselves. They have Endurance here. We do need to fight over that. Uh-oh. They have Mystical Dispute. It's gonna be awkward. Counterspell. Okay, I guess we can Unholy Heat the Endurance. And then keep up Consign plus Force of Negation to answer a potential Living End. Another Endurance is pretty good for them. They can stop our attack when they do fetch. Get another Surveillance 4 Surveillance in the Living End deck. Wow. I guess it's just like very similar to cycling. Like half the time you just end up surveilling. Yeah, it makes sense. It actually makes a lot of sense to have that many surveillance. If you've been a creature, it's like you cycled basically. Oh, I drew the island. I probably should have played that instead. I do have Watery Grave I can fetch though. Oh, they flashed it. They meant to flash it before blocks. I think either way I would probably invert polarity this. Tails never fails, okay. Tails failed. In this particular case, Tails has failed, I repeat. Tails has failed. Oh, I should have probably consigned that. I don't know what I was thinking. Or not thinking. Consign Replicate there would be probably GG's. Now they could have like double Dispute or something like that. Alright. 5-0. Let's go. Took it down. That was an awesome league. I think I'm going to definitely do a write-up about my thoughts on the build of this deck on Patreon, so definitely check that out if you're not there already. Thank you to everyone who was watching this league live in the Discord. And yeah, I'm going to end this video here, probably have a discussion with everyone in the Discord about the list, and have a good night. See you guys.